All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
And I think he's got a surprise or two that you're going to hear about in the next 2 days.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about some pretty big surprise.
Oh, yeah, I heard you say that this morning. What do you mean?
You'll see.
Stay tuned. Rudy Giuliani, you're lucky because we got to go. I'm out of time. Otherwise, I keep pressing you.
We're not going to go down, and we're certainly not going to stop fighting. We've got a couple things up our sleeve that should turn this around.
Turn this around.
In a way that even the liberal pollsters will get to see it.
Okay, so obviously they knew they were losing. That's October 26th of 2016. Okay, that was before the election. They knew they were losing. That's why Roger Stone is dictating letters to go to the state legislatures telling them, you don't have to certify the election when we lose. You could choose a new slate of electors. You can do it. Only the legislatures choose the electors. You know that. Don't give in. Don't stop fighting. We're going to deploy our troops and we're going to have them outside and they're all going to be, screaming and yelling and they're all going to be, pushing back. And they are so disgusting. And now they're saying, oh, but they believed in their heart of hearts. He believed in his heart of hearts. No, I mean, it's unbelievable. The October surprise in 2016 right there, they were losing then too. And if not for a dirty FBI counterintelligence officer giving Rudy Giuliani the info that they got Anthony Weiner's computer and they're going to dump it on Comey 11 days before the election. And there's so many emails on there that even if they just do a quick search to see if they're duplicates, it's going to take them more than, 6 days to do it. And you'll be able to declare victory and say, see, we told you Hillary's dirty. There's more emails. She was hiding it and everything else. Now they're doing it with Hunter Biden. Okay. Everything was a laptop. It's always a laptop with them. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're so filthy dirty. And by the way, Rudy's been doing this forever, okay? Rudy has been Rudy the whole time. And you know what? Chris Hayes did a beautiful report last night, and it jogged a lot of memories because, when I was growing up in New York, I wasn't really political. I was a child and all. And I remember we had a mayor. His name was Ed Koch, and everybody really liked him. And he used to always say, how am I doing? That was his whole thing, right? He'd get on TV and he'd announce, crime was down or taxes were down or, trains were running good, buses were adding lines, everybody will be able to, you'll have an express train and you'll have a local. It'll be so good for you. And then he would always say, how am I doing? And Rudy ran against Ed Koch. And Ed Koch was so freaking popular. And Rudy didn't know what to do about it. So you know what Rudy did? He was the U.S. attorney in New York at the time. Rudy actually weaponized law enforcement. Yeah, Rudy actually weaponized his office, okay? And started to use the RICO Act against Mayor Koch's administration. And went after almost everyone in Ed Koch's administration by saying that Ed Koch, the mayor, the very, very popular mayor of New York, was running a criminal enterprise out of the mayor's office. And Rudy couldn't, he couldn't convict Ed Koch, but he started picking off, peripheral people in the administration. And it was unbelievable. It was just the craziest thing you ever saw. And it's who he's always been. And it's what he did.
In the final chapter of his life, Rudy Giuliani is the object of ridicule and scorn. He is reputationally and financially near bankruptcy. He is looking at the possibility of living out the rest of his days on this earth in prison.
Yay.
How did it happen? How did the once clean as a whistle crime fighter, the law and order man, America's mayor, who led us through one of our darkest hours, how did he end up like this? What happened to Rudy? You hear that a lot. I would submit, if you take a closer look, there's a case to be made. Rudy has actually been this version of Rudy the whole time, or at least had it in him. I mean, in fact, Rudy himself made a pretty revealing statement to that effect last night when he emerged from his shame bunker to address the indictment.
This is a ridiculous application of the racketeering statute. There's probably no one that knows it better than I do, probably some that know it as well. I was the first one to use it in white-collar cases. But in major cases like the Boesky case and the Milken case, this is not meant for election disputes.
This is not an election
This is
dispute.
ridiculous what she's doing.
Now, credit where due. Rudy is correct. He really did pioneer the use of racketeering laws, often shorthanded as RICO, to go after white-collar criminals. It was a sort of innovation of his, like Michael Milken, as he mentioned in that interview. He brought RICO charges against the mob, the 5 families in New York, helping to bring down, organized crime in New York. According to new reporting from The Messenger, wise guys are rejoicing in the wake of Giuliani's own RICO indictment. A veteran mob lawyer says his clients are, quote, effing thrilled. Giuliani also used the RICO laws to go after corruption in politics. And one of the ways that he kickstarted his own electoral career in the city of New York was turning his office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, attention to the Democratic political machine of the city, which he was, of course, going to run against in the race for mayor. In 1986, he took down Stanley Friedman on racketeering charges. That was a Democrat from the Bronx, one of New York's most powerful political figures, as the New York Times put it at the time. And by his own admission, Rudy used RICO laws against his political enemies, including the man whose job he wanted, Democratic Mayor Ed Koch.
The RICO statute, I was the first one to use the racketeering statute for public corruption. I did it against most of Ed Koch's administration. Well, Ed wasn't paying attention. Well, they were stealing millions.
Now think about this. The U.S. attorney who clearly wants political office in this city prosecuting the opposing party, right? Using the power to do that. You might uncharitably call that weaponizing the Justice Department for partisan political ends.
Yeah, you might, and it might feel very familiar to you. It might feel like something that Rudy does over and over and over again. It might feel like something Rudy did in 2016 to their benefit. Obviously, the idea that they were able to upend an election that they were indeed set to lose against Hillary Clinton by weaponizing the New York FBI, right? By remember James Kallstrom, all of them, Bernie Kerik, they were all, like stunned and praising Rudy, like, And obviously, they tried it again in 2020. Obviously, they keep trying to go after their political opponents using the awesome powers of the law. And they're going to do it again in 2024. Okay, this is all the Biden laptop crap. Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now just, take Weiner out, put Biden in. And, you got the same exact scenario. And people keep falling for it over and over and over and over since 1986. Man, they are one-trick ponies, but you people, you really don't know the one trick. So I thought you should know the one trick. And it's always weaponizing the law against your opponent. And they're doing it now. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.